everyone, I am just jumping on really quickly this morning just to show some of you guys how to do, or how to use I should say, what's called the golden loop. So some of you have been mentioning issues with tension, and I always used to struggle with tension as well. It's quite a personal thing, so and it can make a real difference to the size of the thing that you're making. So I thought I'd just quickly jump on and give you a little tip about something called a golden loop, which is something that someone taught me, and I've found it really useful ever since. So your tension can either be really loose, so I've just done a little practice here, but you might be a loose person, so can you see that there's quite a gap between the actual crochet and your hook? This loop, the loops here are quite big, so this is if you've got quite loose tension, you sort of pull it away a bit from the hook, from the work, and as you can see already, it's sort of making a bit of a difference. Can you see there? It's sort of, these bits here are bigger and wider, and some people crochet loose, and that's absolutely fine. Oh, I've done a random half treble there for you. Yeah, so it's absolutely fine if that's how you crochet with loose tension, but it does mean that your work will sometimes work out bigger than expected. So we've got a whole row here of quite loose crochet, some loose stitches, just banging it in there. And then to the other extreme, sometimes people will crochet quite tightly, and can you see that it's already going out of shape because the tension's changed? Yeah, so some people go quite tightly, where they'll go in, they'll keep it really tight, and they'll pull it, and they'll sort of like pull this back bit afterwards just to tighten it up a bit, and again, and so you have a row of then really small tight crochet, and that makes a real difference as well. You can see here, look, that these stitches here are really quite small. It's going to be a bit trickier for me to get my hook into these smaller ones than down here when I had the better size ones, or the bigger ones here. So I'll just show you, and I'll do the row of really tight as well, and people pulling it tight at the back. And again, there's no criticism. If that's how you crochet, that's how you crochet. You just need to think about how that impacts some of the patterns that you make, and you'll need to make sure that you focus on or actually have a go at doing a swatch and seeing if you can adjust the pattern to fit your type of crochet. But I'm not very good at that bit, and I'm quite impatient, so I very rarely actually do a swatch to begin with, which isn't the best advice. I'm just impatient, and I like to get on going and making things. So then I used to always find that my stuff wasn't coming out the right size as the pattern said. So then I found out about the golden loop, and it's really simple. It takes a little while to get used to. I think my crocheting was a bit slower when I first started doing this, but after a while you soon pick it up. So basically this is where we really think about our hook size, and I've got a tulip armour here, so my hook is one of the ones where the barrel stays the same size all the way along. So we know that this bit here, the barrel, this is the size that the pattern says. So for instance, if it was a 4mm, we know that this is going to make a stitch for a 4mm. So the golden loop really is looking at getting your loops on your hook the absolute right size for the stitch, so the right size for your hook for the barrel. So for instance, I'm going to go into this stitch, which is going to be quite tight because it was from my tight row. So I yarn over and I pull up. Now when I pull up, I don't pull up too far so I make it loose. I get it like this. Can you see? So my hook is resting on the top of my crochet, and the loops are the exact size of the barrel. And I'm going to yarn over and pull through, and I am not going to pull tight on this. So that way this loop is exactly the right size, the stitch is the right size, I haven't gone too loose, and I'm not pulling it tight. So it does take, oh gosh, these tight ones are really tight. It does take a little while to get used to, and you sort of like when you're first thinking about it. And so if you're a loose if you've got loose tension, you might need to pull it just so that it's sitting perfectly like that. So that's why it's called the golden loop. It's making sure that this loop here and this loop here are just the right size of your hook. They're not being stretched bigger and they're not being pulled tighter. So yarn over and pull through, and I'm not pulling it through there, and I'm making sure not to pull my hook away. So I pull my hook away, it starts to make the stitch looser. So I pull it in, keep it as it should be. So I'll show you the row then. And then that, if you get the hang of that, of making your stitches the exact size of your hook, you will find it easier to get your hook into the stitches because they won't be too tight, and your work shouldn't be too big because you're not pulling away from the work and making the stitches loose. So it's a good way of getting as close to perfect tension as you can get, and everybody's tension is different, and sometimes your own tension can differ in the day because of how tired your arms get and things like that. So hopefully that has helped you understand a little bit about the golden loop. Just making sure that you stitch it at the right size so you're not making the loops too big or too small. So you can see in the middle here where I've gone big, and then where I've gone really tight, and then back to the normal golden at the top. Hope that's helped. Let me know, keep me posted on socials if there's any more tips you want or any more questions you've got, and I'll see if I can pop on and do some more tip videos for you. Happy hooking, crocheters!